So the second section of our guided notes deals with how to write an equation for the function. So first we need to find b, and remember f of x is equal to a times b to the x, and we evaluate the function for one of the points given to solve for a. And we can find b by taking f of x plus 1 and dividing it by f of x.
Attention teachers, either Mrs.
Or this is the same as basically f of n plus 1 divided by f of n. So another way to think of this is you can take the y values in a table and divide them. I mean, after all, we're just trying to find essentially the common ratio. And it's something you were able to do with ease with a geometric sequence. And it's not that much different in an exponential function. In the second step, evaluate the function for one of the points given to solve for a, and then use a and b to write an equation for the function. And again, that is f of x is equal to a times b to the x power. So here's an example. Basically, you have f of 3 divided by f of 2. You know f of 3 is equal to 1,000. You know f of 2 is equal to 100. So this makes your common ratio. Right? Before it was r, now we're calling it b. It was r when we were talking about sequences. When we're talking about exponential functions, we're going to call it b. But that doesn't change really what it is. It's 10. 1,000 divided by 100 is 10. And now we know if f of 2 is equal to a times b to the x, and we know that f of 2 is equal to 100, and we know our common ratio is 10, and in this case the x part would be 2, and now all we're looking for is a. So 10 squared is 100, so you basically have 100 equals a times 100, or 100a. So this makes a equal to 1. And now the formula for this is f of x is equal to 1 times 10 to the x, or f of x is equal to 10 to the x. There's one example. Let's do another one. We know that essentially f of 2 is equal to 4/5. And we also know or I should say 2/3. Let me scratch that. It's equal to 2/3. And f of 1 is equal to 4/5. So in your calculator, you would type this as 2 divided by 3 divided by 4 divided by 5. And I surround that stuff with parentheses. And then that's all going to equal, it's the same as 2/3 times 5/4, so that's 10/12, which is 5/6. So now we know our common ratio, or B, and we know f of 1 is equal to A times B to the x power. So 5/6 to the x power. And f of 1 is 4/5. So 4/5 is equal to A times 5/6 to the first power, which is simply 5/6. So then A is equal to 4/5 divided by 5/6, which makes A equal to, we take basically 4, bear with me a moment. 4/5 divided by 5/6 is the same as multiplied by 6/5, which is equal to 24 out of 25. So that's what A is equal to. So now our formula is f of x is equal to 24, which is A divided by 25, times our common ratio, which is 5/6 to the x power. So there you go. There's another example. So now I'm going to move past these two examples from your guided notes. I think you have enough examples there. And we already did this on the page above. So you've only had one more example, so we're going to skip that last example. And we're going to go to the back page. So this will be the same thing, right? You know essentially f2 divided by f of 1. And that's equal to, f of 2 is 2/7. And f of 1 is 2. And right now we're doing all this to find B, otherwise known as our common ratio. So 2/7 divided by 2 is the same as 2/7 times the reciprocal of 2, which is 1/2. So that's equal to 2/14, which is equal to 1/7. So B is 1/7. And I know f of 1 is equal to A times 1/7 to the first power. And f of 1 is 2. So 2 is equal to A times 1/7. Or 2 is equal to A over 7, which makes A equal to 2 times 7. So A is 14. And now our formula is f of x is equal to A, which is 14 times 1/7 to the x power. So that's how you would derive the formula from a table. And then here we have another series of points, right? The 0.03 or 1/6. You have to consider what these points are, right? This is essentially f of 1. And this is essentially f of 0. And this is really the only time when you can divide by 0 in a sense. F of 1 divided by f of 0 is essentially 3 divided by 6. Or it's the other way around, 6 divided by 3. Which which is 2. So in this case, our common ratio is 2. So b is equal to 2. And we know that f of 0 is equal to a times 2 to the 0 power. So 2 to the 0 power is 1, and f of 0 is equal to 3. So 3 is equal to a times 1, which means a is equal to 3, and our formula is f of x is equal to 3 times 2 to the x. So there you go, and from here we're going to go on to the homework packet.